world gone insane. An upside-down civilization cannot be real. A world of madness and terror.
It's the Dana Gould Hour.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. We're talking conspiracies, but if you attended the top secret meeting, then you already knew that. With me today is the mighty and faithful Eddie Pepitone. Eddie, by the way, has a CD out. It's entitled A Great Stillness, and you can find it on iTunes. You can also go to YouTube and see the trailer for his documentary, The Bitter Buddha. Matt Weinhold is also here. Matt also has a CD out, and it's entitled Dead Funny. And you can get that at mattweinhold.com, MattWeinhold. It is awesome and dark and hilarious. And lastly, Mike Murphy is here, my very good friend, who is funny in his own right despite being a professional political commentator. You can check out Mike's blog at MikeMurphyCommentary.com or on Twitter at MurphyMike. Many of you have probably seen Mike on Meet the Press or read his column in Time magazine. We're moving up here in the world at the Dana Gould Hour. And Mike is that rarity of rarities. He is someone with whom you may have political disagreements, but who doesn't automatically assume you're the devil for doing so. I don't know about you, but talking to people who agree with you all the time on everything gets a little uninteresting. All of the links that I've mentioned will be up on our Facebook page, which is Official Dana Gould, or on Tumblr, which is at danagould.tumblr.com. And last but first, on danagould.com. If you want to donate to the show, here's how you do it. Next time you need to go to Amazon, click through our banner under the podcast window at danagould.com. Are you tired of hearing my name? I am. One last thing, and then please, God, these announcements will be over. Where can you see me perform in April? April 14th, I will be in LA at the Melrose Improv. April 22nd, in LA at Uncabaret. April 26th, 7th, and the 28th, I will be in Austin, Texas at the Moon Tower Comedy Festival. Then back to LA on an aeroplane on April 29th to grace the stage of Largo to benefit One Kid, One World with Kevin Nealon, Sarah Silverman, and David Spade. Oh, good Lord, those are all on the Performing Live page at my website, and I'm not going to give you the name because it would require saying my name again. I do want to mention June 2nd, if you're up north in the Seattle, Portland, Tri-City area. I will be at the Triple Door with my good friend Kathy Sorbo. Enough! Let us start. You know, the beautiful thing about podcasting is, it's free, it's easy. You know what does not go well with them? What? Apples.
What fruits do? Bananas, possibly?
I have bananas.
Softer fruits?
A ladle of gravy?
A snack pack. A snack pack was made. Puddings, Ed.
Pudding goes well with any audio venue.
One of those meal nutrition pills that you always see in sci-fi movies.
Isn't there some genius now who is taking just pills for meals? Do you know what I'm talking about? Something to do...
I think that's me.
I knew it was close to me. Thank you, because I would have struggled with the string theory, time.
No, you don't eat food. No, just take Vicodin.
All of those pills, so many, I think those health food pills.
Please don't tell me bad things, because I've started to take a bunch of spirulina.
A lot of that stuff is great, but I think a lot of it is to turn your urine highlighter ink color.
That is very true. And do you get excited, when you see fluorescent urine, do you guys get a little oh, I'm achieving something in my life?
I saw fluorescent urine at the Roxy with their original drummer.
I'm just easily amused by glowing things. So
yeah, me too.
That's just
me too.
And then I use it like a Highlander. I get a script and I just pee on it. And those are my lines.
A lot of time, that's pretty good use. That's a pretty good use for both of those things.
Welcome to Writer's Workshop Talk. I'm Ben Stevens.
Chapter 1, using the right tools.
Who's the guy on NPR? It's literally like a parody of an NPR show. It's Book Talk or something.
Oh, Book Talk, yeah.
Book Talk. I'm Seth Sethman.
Yes.
I'm talking to Claudia Claudiaton and her new book. And this was actually a book I heard once, ironically. The book today Comfort Me with Apples.
That wasn't a real title. That really wasn't. Can you imagine you're stuck on the 405 and you're just like, comfort me with apples? Fuck you!
If ever a book had the ability to spit in your face, it would be Comfort Me with Apples.
Oh, my God.
That would be the book if you were the guy in the Twilight Zone that found his glasses and the only book was Comfort Me with Apples. You just break them.
Just break them yourself, yeah.
You know what book I want to read? I wish somebody, anyone on earth, would write a book about what it was like to grow up in Brooklyn in the 50s. Enough. And vampirism as an analogy for the awkward teenage years.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Vampirism.
Bring
All
back
done.
the good old vampirism, you know? Where they're
Karloff.
scary, you know, and they run around and they're legions of Satan.
I've missed this kid vampire thing. Twilight has passed me by. Yeah, did you guys ever see any of that crap?
I never got around to it.
You never mean either.
No.
No. No, I'm an adult male.
Right. So, okay, so
I'm
it's normal,
okay,
right?
right,
Because
yeah.
I do know I was reading that, the CIA has these satellites that can photograph.
Wait a minute.
Here we go.
Well, no, it's Google Earth. It's like, Google Earth. You can see your house.
Right.
Someone is photographing
Can they
your
see
house.
inside? I've heard.
I'm sure they can if they want to. But
Damn it.
they have yet to find anyone excited by the Dark Shadows trailer. And they have been scouring the earth. I think we've got a hit. Well, that's the interesting thing about the CIA is that they are at once blitheringly incompetent and at the same time terrifying. It's like,
Yes, it sounds like my father.
doesn't it? There was an amazing book written about it called Legacy of Ashes by a guy named Mark Weiner.
By the way, I've heard of that title, and that's my knowledge of books titles. Oh, yes. I've heard of that title.
Did you ever read Legacy of Apples?
But you have to say it like this: Legacy of Apples.
CIA's remembrances
that
Brooklyn, New York.
And then
What voice was that, Dana? I love
that's
that
the
voice.
NPR guy.
Oh.
Legacy of Apples. And you go and you look in the booth and it's just a giant tote bag with headphones on,
I love
Filled
when
with kale.
drinking from a travel mug. But the CIA has like a 98% failure rate, like historically. The title
What,
Legacy-
overthrowing governments? Or
Yeah.
Or just anything, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
and the governments that they have overthrown, a government is like a bag of spiders. It's like, well, we've finally bagged the spiders. How'd you do it? We released 1 million cobras into the city. Oh, great. Now we have a bigger
Right.
problem.
yes. They create just horrific
They
chaos.
did overthrow the government of Chile in
That's-
the early 1970s. And there's some interesting stuff that goes on. But it's all about, I don't believe that any conspiracy can really work. I just think human nature belies like a grand conspiracy to be pulled off with any great effectiveness.
if the whole 9/11 thing, for
Was a
example,
conspiracy?
was a conspiracy, nobody in our government could pull that off.
Well, that was
There's
what
no
that was.
way.
Oh my God, we can't do anything.
Well,
Our
see-
government,
right.
I mean, we know as citizens that our government is so incompetent.
Yeah, the first
It
CIA
is
guy that
amazing.
would come in there and go, "I'm here to blow up this building." Oh, damn.
But a rule of a conspiracy is to keep it very simple, to keep it as little people as possible.
Yeah,
I think
right.
this is how conspiracies can get done. And take notes out there, folks, is to keep it to a very small circle of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't have
Right.
the DMV involved.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we're
right.
going to go
That's
through
what-
the DMV
yes,
to
yeah.
try to blow up the World Trade Center.
But that's the whole thing with the Illuminati. Like there's a secret society. If it's more than a card table, you're getting into trouble.
I'm going to say something political, which is always dangerous, that I do believe, I don't know if I believe in conspiracies, but I totally believe in a group of people getting together and acting in their own self-interest. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I'm a political guy and I read about the Foreign Relations Council and all these like quote-unquote cabals, like people,
Yes, but they don't-
big-moneyed
Of course.
people who get together and they devise policies that
Yeah.
are designed to keep them in power. I believe that goes on.
Super powerful rich people help super powerful rich people. And that happens. I believe in that. I just don't believe that they're really good at orchestrating all kinds of things all the time.
Here's an example. The run up to the Iraq War. Now, clearly that was guys going, look, the information that we have isn't the information that we want, but we all know that we need to do this.
That's
so
right.
Let's do it.
The neocons.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't believe any of them felt that they were doing an evil thing. I believe that they thought,
I agree.
In the grand scheme, this is going to be good.
Oh, totally.
But they're just dumbasses. I mean,
That's
they're
right.
not- they're
There's the thing. There's the rub, as I don't know if you're familiar with Shakespeare, but there is the rub.
or massage. That's the happy ending to the entire situation.
Or barbecue.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
But, that's the thing. I might have told the story before. In the 90s, after the Soviet Union fell, there was some local guy out in one of the Georgia republics, one of the, Soviet satellite republics, who called the CIA or called the American defense attaché and said, hey, we found some weapons-grade plutonium. Do you want to come and get it out of here? And they said, yes. He's like, great. Why don't you throw $6 million into my Swiss bank account, and then we'll clear your airspace for you, and you guys come in and get it, because we know you guys want this stuff. They said, terrific.
Did they?
So then they go and they look, and they found a massive storehouse of weapons-grade plutonium in what looked like an abandoned, shirt factory, locked with like a bike lock. And then the guy goes, oh, there's more than we thought. Maybe you should give me 60 million. They said, sure. But it took a week, and we got all the stuff and flew it out. Then they have the big meetings of all of the NATO security councils come together at the end of the year and trade, how are we doing? What's going on? And they were all freaked out that they all missed it. Of all my friends, Mike Murphy is the only friend I have with a column in Time magazine.
I'm writing the end of the media down to. They hide it behind the paywall, so I have a lot of librarians who write me nice letters from Central Kansas now. No, I joined up with Time because I thought I would get the safari jacket and I could order drinks at the Rex Hotel in Saigon, and then I found out that's all over now.
You have been in the White House.
Briefly and under guard, but yes.
Yeah. And you saw the war room.
Well, I should caveat it. I was around the
Don't you
first
caveat.
Bush senior. I know, I'm ruining your whole premise now. I got to peek in there, but it was a long time ago because this was during Bush 1. I ran McCain's first campaign against Bush 2, and there were like more PLO agents in the White House than I was after that.
Right.
Carol and I were not that close. And it's all been modernized now. It looks like the set of 24, I'm sure.
Right.
But back then, it was a great little room, and it had like tube televisions and a K-Pro computer. It was state-of-the-art for 1989,
Right.
Morse code, map of the world.
Right.
But it was cool. It was small. What you remember about the White
It's
House?
nothing like Dr. Strangelove. I assume it was the giant room.
It never has the cool sci-fi. It doesn't even look like an Irwin Allen picture with the old spin tape computer machines and the blinking lights. It's a small room, looks like room for about 6 people around a square table back then, and what looked like kind of a Playboy After Dark hi-fi setup, with a couple of TV sets and communication. It's basically a secure conference room where the decision makers can process information. There's stuff over in the Pentagon and other places that are bigger and more, but this was the tip of the decision pyramid there.
Does the Dr. Strangelove room exist somewhere?
I think everything...
You know where it does exist, like eBay headquarters has one.
Right, yeah. There are trading rooms on Wall Street that probably look more
There's
the
a
part.
bra manufacturer in Taiwan that has that room.
Yeah, that stuff's out there, but it's always both cooler and visually less neat than you might expect, in terms of capacity versus what it looks like. I remember I was on Air Force 2 once upon a time, and you got the princess phones that don't work and everything. So, government is not as hip as Hollywood makes government, but there is a lot of capacity, and there's been a big spend lately. So there's more and more stuff because the digital technology's caught up to it all. So there are quite a lot of toys.
You really have to have your conscience in abeyance to make these huge decisions about the globe and war. Like, I'm always amazed at the guys and gals, I guess there's gals involved in this now too, you know what I mean, that make these decisions in rooms to do these like immense things. Like, I can't make a decision. Do I go to Ralph's or Rite Aid? For me, that's huge. No, I'm serious.
Right, yeah.
Like, I've only got a certain window. Do I go to Ralph's or Rite Aid? Ralph's has things that Rite Aid had. That's the smart decision. However, Rite Aid is more specific on the vitamins. And
See, I always look, where am I going to get less depressed? At what pharmacy will I get less depressed? It's fluorescent lighting. In high school, one of my jobs I had as a teenager was delivering prescriptions to nursing homes. I worked at a pharmacy.
That's depressing, correct?
And it was literally all I remember is driving around my shitty Massachusetts hometown in January, freezing cold in a van. And for some reason, it was like a movie. I couldn't not get Simon and Garfunkel on the radio. It was.
By the way, your character was forged in steel from that.
Yes,
Just go ahead.
exactly. Yeah, and then you finally, oh, good, I'm where I'm supposed to be. Ding dong, and then it's just like 80 people.
Oh.
Please stay a while.
Kick death away.
Just keep the door open long enough for me to try to run.
Yeah. My heart is all boo-booed.
Is that the moon or the sun?
I made a mischief.
I laid an egg.
Do you want to see my clay baby?
Oh, no.
It was so depressing. It was so depressing. A lot of conspiracy beliefs are also like deep religious beliefs. It's because you want to think it can't be that simple. I mean, the Kennedy assassination, which is the fact that Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald, does make it look so much like a conspiracy because the first rule of an assassination conspiracy is then kill the assassin. And it's just so weird that they kind of let this noted strip club owner wander into the basement of the police department with a gun. I mean,
how the hell? Boy, talk about people just fucking up. You know, that Kennedy assassination was.
Yeah. And that poor cop handcuffed to Oswald. What the? In that photo. Say.
You know, he's had that picture, though, in his den forever. Like, look at this, look at this.
Huh? I used to do a bit in my act about that guy, and I said, you know, his friends went up to him the rest of his life doing that pose. You want to go to eat? And this is a true story. I performed it in Dallas, Texas, and his grandson came up to me and said, that's exactly what happened. And it really bugged him because, you know, he was a Texas sheriff. I mean, he was a balls to the wall, you know, guy. And he was just like trying to get out of the way of a guy shooting at him. It was a completely understandable gesture. And he was like, it really bothered him that he's been memorialized like, what the?
When you see a guy who just walks into a police station like that, I always wonder, could I just walk into the defense? Like, I wonder if you can just, in this day and age with high-tech security, just wander into places and be able to
You can't just walk into the North Hollywood Library because of 9/11.
Yes.
The thing about like the Kennedy thing with the shooter, the single shooter, I don't think people want to believe that, one guy can just do that. You know, it's a lot more comforting to think that it was a vast cabal and that the DMV was in on it and Cubans and the mafia.
The Cuban connection.
You don't want to think that
the Freemasons. That's another one.
Yeah, well, Lyndon Johnson was another one, too.
Yeah.
But the evidence, though, you see, it gets confusing to me because if you do investigate it, if you do start spending some time, the evidence gets to be compelling that it couldn't have been one shooter. Do you know what I mean?
I respectfully disagree.
Is that right?
Believe me, no one wanted there to be more than one shooter than me.
And there you're talking about the religion aspect of conspiracies.
Sure.
Because what happens...
And it's fun.
Yes. It takes you out of
fun
your
to
mundane...
believe. Yeah.
Mundane...
Oh, my brother Kevin was almost killed in Dealey Plaza, standing in the middle of the street where the car was, looking at the knoll and looking at the library. And he goes, and I'm standing in the street and I'm looking and I just completely lost track that I didn't realize I was standing in the middle of the street and this guy's behind me and he just beeps his horn and I turned and screamed, we got to solve this.
He did not.
Yeah,
That's great.
He's a riot.
Imagine if the guy got out of the car and said, you fucking A right, let's do it. They get schematics out. They both have
they start
schematics.
pulling yarn from the vantage point.
Well, the whole thing about the magic bullet that they said, like the bullet went through and then it took a left turn and then it took a right turn. No, because this is probably boring to people that don't care about it, but that was under the assumption that Governor Connolly was sitting directly in front of him. He wasn't. He was in the jump seat. He was 8 inches to the left and lower. The bullet made a perfectly straight passage through Kennedy into Connolly where he was sitting. It was.
So why is there all that fucking information about the bullet being a magic bullet?
Well, it was magic in the sense that it wasn't shattered. That is odd. But the Discovery Channel did a thing where they took the actual car because that one was modified and the jump seat was moved.
Right.
So when they did the old things, it wasn't the actual car.
Didn't they also do a ballistics test too? I think I saw that where they do a ballistics test where they shoot a bullet into.
They shot 40 prostitutes trying to match the bullet. Why don't you just shoot dummies? Now, you were on Air Force Two with who?
Dan Quayle, which was a lot of fun back then. This is in the old 92 reelect.
Which brings up something that's fun to talk about, that you are a Republican.
Yes.
And I am a Democrat.
True.
And yet we don't hate each other. and what I think it's funny as I go to Washington, D.C., and I meet people, that there is a large industry in getting both sides to really hate each other. And the way that industry works is by focusing two cameras on the most extreme viewpoints to the point that you are inundated with the extreme views, and you think that that's all there is.
Yeah, I mean, I think what brings us together as a Republican and a Democrat is together we hate everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know, that's a bonding thing. I wrote a pilot called Stupid versus Evil. I stole from J.S. Mills, who had originally said that about British politics. You know, the truth is, there's a public politics and a private politics. And the public politics is increasingly like pro wrestling because it gets rewarded.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing is that the media, and everybody's wincing now, oh, God, another wingnut's going to go off on the communist media. I leave that aside. They have a bias for conflict.
It's all about selling. It's all about getting people to watch a show so you can sell advertising time. And to do that, you need to create drama. And the fundamental rule of drama is conflict.
Right.
All drama is conflict.
Exactly. And conflict sells, conflict's ratings. And, you know, the truth is, I'll beat up the voters a little on both sides. It's not exactly a debate at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory out there in terms of what people reward. They like anecdotal arguments. They like heat. And both sides want to be told they're right. And a problem we have now is you can tune into various news outlets on either side and be told that everything you think, no matter how simplistic and antagonistic it is completely true. And, you know, so we're doing what advertising guys would say, we're polluting the category. McDonald's doesn't run commercials that say, hey, Burger King hamburgers, they've got worms in them. Because ultimately it's bad for hamburgers. But, you know, the truth is the voters have the power and they reward this behavior. People love negative advertising. They won't admit it, but they reward it every day.
There's this documentary
website.
They put out this documentary that's basically saying that, you know, 9/11 was a controlled explosion and so forth.
The George Bush is both an idiot and an evil super genius.
Right, he's a Bond villain now.
Well, people say it's Cheney. Bush is just a hood ornament.
He can barely keep his heart running. How is he going to, you know, like, where is he?
Yeah, Cheney's such an evil super genius that he got elected by 9 miscounted votes in Florida. It would be like the Bond villain. And how did you build this lair? Oddly enough, my uncle died and left me an empty volcano.
You're not going to believe this.
Yeah. Funny you should ask, Mr. Bond. I happened to find a baseball card with a lot of... Tell me, Goldfinger, how did you amass your fortune? Call your Sremsky rookie card.
That is so funny.
It is amazing, Mr. Bond, the money you can save when you really use those value packs that show up in the post office.
I spent so many years marketing maple syrup, pure maple syrup, and finally I hit. You know how much people will pay for pure maple syrup? My villain can't even talk. Bah.
He's just really into breakfast.
But are you saying you don't believe in any elements of conspiracy?
No, there clearly are conspiracies, but they're not. But I don't believe in vast conspiracies.
Right.
You know, I do believe in different people acting in their own interest that all have a similar outcome. A bunch of people hate Bill Clinton, and they go after him any way they can. And when the things collide, it looks like a vast
coordinated
conspiracy.
effort. Yeah.
And I don't actually think it's that evil. I don't think 7 people meet in the Star Chamber and come up with stuff. But no, it's put down by like all the false conspiracies, you know, Roswell, New Mexico.
I want to believe in that. You know, I catch myself wanting to believe in that. That we're not alone in the fucking universe, which is the title of my... Well,
go ahead.
No, kidding.
The title of your cookbook.
Yeah.
It's just Eddie melting Kraft Fudgies and pouring it over cookies.
I just want to believe I'm not alone. Period.
Yeah, really? I think that's it.
That's all.
You know, I
sort of go to Roswell and meet people.
I sort of go to the George Carlin theory of like, even if there are people that could come here, if they could come here, they could see us. Why the fuck would they want to come here?
Right.
Yeah.
These people are great. Look do you know how many children's beauty pageants this planet has? We should get to know these guys.
It's the stand your ground planet.
Exactly.
Well, the science fiction-y thing is they need the planet for resources, you know?
Yeah.
They need what's inside the Earth's core. They need the water. They need the whatever. You know?
Right.
You saw Dune.
Well, there is a conspiracy that, you know, the church coming down on Galileo.
That's a real one.
That's a real
right?
conspiracy. Yeah. boom.
And again,
Really?
they're acting in their own interest because they needed to be the center of
The
the universe.
church is full of fucking conspiracies. For a lot of these people on the left and on the right, if you substitute the word government with the word dad, you get to the root of a lot of their
It's
problems.
true. We call it the horseshoe theory, which is
Yeah.
eventually if you go wingnut on either side enough and you burp forcefully, you're hop the horseshoe gap and be on the left. Look, anybody who believes in a complicated government conspiracy should spend a lot more time at the DMV. It'll clean you up immediately. Or take an Amtrak trip across the country.
Yeah, or just go to the post office, 3:30 any random day. Do you know why priests can't get married?
Why?
You would think that, I guess God said, don't get married. No, the church didn't want them having kids because if they had kids, they would leave their land to their kids. If they don't get married, they leave their land to the church. It's all about real estate, you know. So
It's all about real
It's all
estate.
real estate. So that's all that's all in how you define stuff. And in the late 40s and the 50s, the Soviet Union really did want to destroy the United States through subterfuge any way they could. And, you know, the communist expansion, the domino theory didn't work, but they really wanted to try it. They really wanted to go and take over the world. You know, that was
Right.
That
But didn't
was
we
their
as
goal.
well? Didn't we as well? We were an imperial power as well, and we
Well,
wanted to expand and
the
blah,
Truman.
blah, blah.
The
I
Truman
thought that was the
Doctrine-
whole idea, is that they wanted, we wanted, and
No, they wanted to expand, and we did not want them to expand at all. And we were annoyed at the land they took after World War II. And what's really amazing is Berlin after World War II, where basically the Soviets go in to capture as many Nazi scientists as possible. And we're over there getting them for us. I mean, talk about March Madness. It was just
wasn't March.
but it was just two global superpowers getting as many Nazi scientists as they could to work on their atomic weapons plans, because we knew Germany and the United States were teaming up against Germany on Wednesday, and everybody knew on Thursday we were switching around and it was going to be us against you. It was clear cut. That's the kind of stuff that's
When New
does go on.
Mexico was fun, by the way, when Oppenheimer and his friends were.
Yeah, that was when it was
That was
good
a
to go
great
down to
time in
Mexico.
New
Yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, it must have
Bars
been
were hopping.
Must have been good to be a Nazi scientist back then.
It was.
just getting all these offers and just like,
You have an agent.
what kind of room will I have? Do you know those couches that it's like a balloon? You blow them up. I want something.
I want Wiener Schnitzel around the clock.
I would like a brunette with 3 boobs. Get it for him. No, all that stuff is really crazy. And then what started to happen was they started to smuggle these guys out of Eastern Europe, and the plans kept getting screwed up. And they realized
for the
for
atomic
Allies.
bomb?
Yeah, well, no, they kept trying to smuggle
German scientists.
right out of Eastern Europe over the
Right.
course into the 50s after the atomic war was well underway.
Right.
The Cold War, and their plans getting screwed up. And what they realized was that there was a mole
See,
in
that's
the CIA.
yeah.
And there was a mole in the MI5.
Wow.
And there was a mole
selling information.
and
Is
there
that
was-
what they do?
And there was a mole in the KGB. Yeah.
Can I pose this question to you, gentlemen? Would you be a mole, or would you be completely loyal? I couldn't imagine being a mole for something, that intense. Like,
Oh, it's
like,
insane. It's
just.
I don't have that kind
Could
of
you imagine that
fortitude.
shit? Yeah, that it is.
Just- I mean-
It's living such a dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, forget about the moral implications or whatever, the loyalty to my country and all that. Just the pressure.
That's right.
The just the
pressure
phone
of
calls.
being a mole.
I feel guilty when I'm at a friend's house and they have a dog. And then I come home and my dog smells their dog on my clothes.
Yeah.
And I get this look. Were you over at Tippy's house?
So you couldn't
Did you
handle it?
enjoy fucking Tippy?
Tippy.
Yeah. I would be the worst spy ever. I can't. If I
Yeah,
ever cheated
inside
on my
your-
wife, I would immediately have to tell her because I feel that guilty already anyway. Like
Yes.
if I actually did something wrong, it'd be even worse.
All right, you
So,
might be wondering
yeah.
what this hair is
Yeah.
that I can't even see,
Yeah.
but I know you can see.
Yeah.
I would be shot on my way to the CIA parking garage to get my car.
I would start every conversation with, "What spy?"
Inside your
I'm not a double agent. This is the Columbia Records and Tape Club, sir.
Yeah, but I know who you're working for.
Yeah.
Did you hear about a shooting? And this fascinates me. There was a shooting in Langley, Virginia. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago now. Of course, I have no sense of time, but it was around that time where CIA guys were shot at a traffic light. And that always fascinates me. The news reported it. It was a big thing, and then it was gone.
Oh, I didn't know that.
From the news. And apparently it was blowback for something. And I forget. I love that term, blowback, by the way. That always excites me.
Iran's nuclear scientists keep getting shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. They keep blowing up.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, time to have a stuffed pepper.
Oh, and that was the crazy shit. Again, it's like the smaller conspiracies are so much more fun and real. And there was so much crazy shit that actually happened that you forget. You know, it's like you don't need to make stuff up. You don't need Oliver Stone. Just read the real stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The plans to kill Castro under the Kennedy administration included like giving him a drug that would make his beard fall out, and then they believed that the people would naturally turn against him.
Is that for real? That sounds like the Woody Allen movie Bananas.
No, this is all real. Because a beard is such a symbol of machismo that they were going to try to make his beard fall out, and then they just thought the people would turn on him because his beard fell out. They tried to put poison in the lining of his scuba suit. They tried to poison a vanilla milkshake. There are all these aborted, crazy plans. I don't know the name of the guy. I could look it up, but one of the first guys that started the CIA, before it was the CIA, when it was called the Office of Special Services. And he had a theory during World War II that they were going to drop bats with small incendiary devices strapped to them and ignite them when the bats got down over Tokyo to cause the Japanese people to think that they had angered the gods and that the gods were now raining fire on Tokyo.
It is great that you can,
you don't need to make this up. And somewhere there was a guy like, we need to find a glue that will hold a bomb to a bat. How do you train bats?
I'm on it, Chief.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hey, is Ted off his meds? He's going on about bats again and the glue.
Who do we know that the Japanese are afraid of? Dracula.
Japanese fear vampires. That's common knowledge.
I guess that's got to be kind of fun when you're in a room like that, kind of just spinning. They're just like throwing out ideas like that.
Like, something with bats. I don't have it worked out yet, but like
something with bats. I like
bats. I like bats. Put bats on the board.
Yeah.
Put bats.
Gina, put bats on the board.
John, you got anything? Got anything for bats?
Who are you?
My name is Bond. James Bond.
Well, we didn't have James Bond, but we did have James Angleton. James Jesus Angleton, the CIA's Associate Deputy Director of Operations for Counterintelligence. In other words, he was the secret police inside the secret police. He began his career at Yale as a poet. He later joined the Army, worked alongside British intelligence in World War II, and eventually became one of the founding officers of the CIA. James Angleton, a man of great power and authority who, over time, went completely insane, while still holding on to his power and authority.
Now, watch very carefully. An ordinary tin of talcum powder. Inside, a tear gas cartridge.
No, I'm afraid it was nothing like that. James Angleton worked out of a dark little office, smoking and drinking and assembling what he believed was the Soviet Union's master plot, the strands of which he laboriously cataloged on thousands and thousands of note cards, which covered the walls of his office. It's hard to recall now, but in the aftermath of World War II, the communists were very openly determined to take over the world, and communist paranoia in the U.S. ran rampant.
In recognizing a communist, physical appearance counts for nothing. We take his word for it. But there are other communists who don't show their real faces, who work more silently.
The world was split down the middle, and American youth were taught in no uncertain terms why our system was better.
What is capitalism?
Let me tell you about something. It happened when Eleanor and I went down to get the things for the class weenie roast. We went to Mr. Brown's store. We needed weenies. Mr. Brown had weenies. It's as simple as that.
Is it, Timmy?
Mr. Brown has property, all right, but that's not what he's interested in.
Go on.
When we agreed to buy everything from him, weenies, buns, marshmallows, and charcoal, he agreed to give us extra service and take a lot of the kids out to the picnic.
And do you know what we call people like that?
Meat packers?
No, Eleanor. Capitalists. And it was the protection of our capitalist way of life that drove James Angleton.
Meat packers?
Whatever. Angleton's true obsession was the mole, the Soviet double agent inside the CIA that leaked information back to the KGB, ruining countless missions and leading to the murder of countless American agents. At night, Angleton would go out with his old friend Kim Philby, a British intelligence officer he met in World War II. Philby was now the attaché from the British Secret Service. And together, the two men would drink and plot and drink and plan and drink and drink. The search for the mole became Angleton's obsession, eventually, many think, driving him crazy. One quick example. Yuri Nasenko, a Soviet defector. But Angleton thought he was a fake defector, sent to feed us false information. So, just to be sure, Angleton had him thrown into solitary confinement in a secret CIA prison for 3.5 years. Just to be sure. And this was in 1964, mind you. Oh, by the way, Angleton was wrong about Yuri Nasenko. He was exactly who he said he was. But he was right about the mole, the Soviet double agent inside the CIA. And it was poetic justice for a former poet, his old buddy, Kim Philby. No! And Angleton walked around the rest of his life, knowing that much of the information Philby passed on came from his own mouth.
You're joking.
I never joke about my work, 007.
Meat packers?
Here's my example of me as a spy. I'm living with my old girlfriend, and she used to write short stories. I could never read them. She would never let me read them. She was a really good writer. It's a shame she didn't become a writer. So one day I'm
She CIA?
I'm in our bedroom. No.
MI5?
So I'm in our bedroom, and I see her little journal open to a story. A story. I'm going to read this. And the story starts, and then the story stops, and the next page the story resumes her journal. It's like, ooh, I shouldn't read this. Read.
Yes. Reading other people's journal.
Then I got to some shit about me, which I immediately, horribly tried to counteract. The minute she walks home, say you don't think I'm too self-centered, do you?
Like you immediately addressed it. Hello, darling.
Hello, dear. I was just sitting here thinking about how I eat too much popcorn at the movies. And I am too callous with rental cars.
And do you like Nick? Just wondering.
I know I do.
I'm writing a play about the problems you have with me.
Now, a good spy would have just kept that and just waited and just subtle incremental moves over the course of 2 minutes in the door. Yes. I think I'm going to be less self-centered today.
And when you hit on it, a spy has to be unemotional.
Yeah.
We're emotional creatures, these three men right here.
Mm-hmm.
So full of emotion. And that's why this podcast works.
That's why we're...
You ever listen to that Spy podcast? Oh, boy, those guys.
It's very dry. It's very technical.
That's why we're all professional clowns. I bet real clowns look at rodeo clowns and think, look at that asshole. What a fucking loser that guy is.
Can't even ride a horse.
You don't have to put yourself in danger to make a few $100. That's a real clown. Don't get a rodeo clown.
Yeah. No, I just do kids' birthday parties. What about you?
I think I'd rather ride a horse.
Yeah. God, rodeo clown groupies.
Oh,
there's your documentary.
Oh, God.
I just like the way they have orange hair and they're in the barrel and the cow hates them. They're braver than anybody.
They're braver than a friend of mine I heard about went to a dentist.
He fall off the horse into a pile of glitter. Good.
You know, you see a rodeo clown and you're like, I want to talk to your guidance counselor right now.
Rodeo in general, I don't know about you. I went to one in Colorado, and I just don't understand the culture. I just,
People love it. Our friend Andrea actually can ride rodeo, and it's just its own thing. It's its own thing. People love it.
Really?
Yeah, and it's humane. It's not like bullfighting.
Or horse racing?
Yeah, or horse racing, by the way.
Yeah.
There should be a new show where greyhounds race horses.
I always wanted to do a version of Planet of the Apes called Planet of the Mice, and and they ride cats.
But they still attack fully grown people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Just long strings from a mouse to a guy's neck. Come here, Bright Eyes. Yeah.
And they have a bunch of cheese, but it's all sealed in those plastic bags. Tell us, Bright Eyes, can you open this? So much of, as a child, your early communication is asking larger organisms to open stuff for you.
Yeah.
I just realized today.
Open.
Yeah, open. I just realized today, if you count the work that I did as a child, 98% of the poetry I've written is about diarrhea.
If you count the work you did as a child.
If you count the decades, no pain, no strain, just sit and let it drain. When you're dancing with your honey and it comes out soft and runny. When you're walking down the town and it comes out hot and brown. All those things. That's the majority of the poetry I've written in my life.
But it's good.
Welcome to Political Talk with two guys from Boston. A working man's look at the socio-political issues of our day. And now, Political Talk with two guys from Boston.
Welcome to Political Talk with two guys from Boston. I'm Johnny Condon.
And I'm Robbie Sullivan. Hiya.
Do you know who you're voting for?
You know, it changes all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, here in Massachusetts, we have a very tight Senate race between Scott Brown and Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
Here's the issue. He looks like every guy in high school you hung out with that you fucking hated.
Yeah.
And she looks like a girl that might have been pretty without the glasses about 40 years ago.
Yeah, he's like the guy that got cut from the team that you wanted to support at the time. And then later he's like walking around following you. And your friends are like, why is he following you?
Yeah.
My uncle knows Brownie.
What did he say?
He says he's a good guy, but he's nuts. Brownie with nuts.
Yeah.
That's what he calls him.
Oh, I get it. You
Yeah.
can say that about anybody. What do you think
Yeah.
about JFK? Good guy, but he's nuts.
He's crazy.
Yeah. Anybody who's elevated themselves to a position where you know who they are is a little nuts.
I like the name Warren.
You know who she reminds me of?
Who?
Mrs. Hathaway from the Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, yeah, I always liked her.
She protected their money.
She was the voice of reason in an otherwise untenable situation.
That's right. And the you know, you'll notice that the Clampetts did not go broke, and I don't think that was because of Mr. Drysdale.
I don't either. And
I
you know
think
what?
that was because of Jane motherfucking Hathaway.
Yeah, and Massachusetts could use the voice of reason.
You know what it is?
What is
I
it?
don't want to get heavy.
No, go ahead.
The problem is people think the leaders really lead.
Yeah.
And they don't. You can only do so much.
Yeah, a leader is usually following the people around him into whatever area their expertise.
It's like the
brings
country's
them.
an aircraft carrier, and every 4 years we pick a new guy to steer the aircraft
Yeah.
carrier, but they're not going to turn it into a fucking ice cream truck.
No, and
it's a
they're gonna-
fucking aircraft
yeah,
carrier.
and if there's a problem, they're going to jump.
Exactly. And I don't trust who I pick anyway.
I most of the
I
time
always
don't.
pick the wrong woman.
Do you?
You could go to a bar. There could be a very reasonable girl sitting at the bar.
Yeah.
She doesn't go to bars alone. She's a
Right.
classy girl.
She came in for appetizers.
Came in for appetizers with her friends from work. They
Yeah.
got off early. They finished their presentation.
She had a drink.
Yeah, she had a drink. She's having some popcorn shrimp. She's
Yeah.
got to get going because she's got a yoga class at
Yeah,
7
right.
because she takes care of her body.
Good for
and
her.
she could look at me and smile, and I would smile, and I'd think, she's interesting. But what about that girl behind her with the eye patch and the pocketbook full of doll heads?
With 5 glasses empty next
That's
to
the one. That's the one I'll go for.
Yeah.
What about that girl with the dynamite duct taped to a vest?
She needs someone.
She seems like somebody I would have a better time with.
Better effect on.
You want to go to my house?
Yeah.
Sure.
That sounds reasonable.
A woman will either say, would you like to get out of here? Or the other woman would say, what are you going to do, take me home now? I always go for the latter. I should go for the former.
You really should. I think sometimes the former is the one to go for anyway.
Yeah.
The first thought is not always a good one, but sometimes it's the right one.
Yeah.
And Johnny, you know what the truth is being truthful is sometimes hard with ourselves.
That's true.
It's easy to say to someone else, you know what? I really like you. And inside you're going, what am I doing here?
Do you get horny watching a chick eat a hot dog? Because I get terrified.
If somebody's doing that at any time, I try not to think about sex.
Because it's very exciting when she puts it in the mouth, but then
I get more excited if
it's a turnoff.
If a girl's reaching into a bag of popcorn than I do about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. You ever go to the movies and cut a hole in the popcorn? I never have, but I've seen it done.
I do. I've done that a lot, but I go to the movies alone usually, and it just kind of puts me off. I also am attracted to the mystery of a woman. Like, what is that limp about? Is that a prosthetic leg, or did she pull a hamstring?
Right, and there's only one way to find out.
Oh, yeah.
You got to get buttons flying.
Yeah, one thing you don't want to hear just before bed, let me get this leg off.
Well, that could be the nicest person you've ever met, and then maybe it is what you want to
You know, Paul McCartney's wife had a bum leg.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, his second wife had a bum leg.
Oh, no, I did know that. The vegetarian one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they were all vegetarians. Like
is that right?
Yeah, but she had a bum leg. And, see, I would always think I'm going to call her Peg one day by accident. I'm going to go, hey, Peg, come here. And she's going to go, what the fuck did you just say?
Well, if she has the right sense of humor, maybe that would be funny to her.
Yeah.
You don't want to call her Lefty.
I knew a girl, lost her leg.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a good guy. I take her out. Want to go out? Sure. Yeah. What do? I sabotage myself. We go to Pirates of the Caribbean.
No.
Why? Of all the movies.
Oh, you
of
think
all
about
the movies,
any
I take it.
Other movie.
I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it.
Oh, did you know what you was doing?
No. I was sabotaging myself.
Yeah, that's brutal. Because then the whole time you're sitting there sweating weird.
Yeah. I might as well have shown up for the date with a fucking bird on my shoulder. You ever see a guy walking around Harvard Square with like a fucking bird on his shoulder?
Yeah, something's up.
You know, all you're doing is telling women, that's right, ladies, I have bird shit on my back. Come get some of this.
You think I love you. Wait till you see how much I love this bird.
Ugh. I was walking into the toilet at a Brigham's on 93 South one day.
Oh, yeah.
And I shit you not, this is true. Guy washing his hands with a fucking snake around his neck.
What?
Like some guy with a pet fucking snake.
Jeez.
Work it out.
Yeah.
Work it out, you asshole.
Get this done in the privacy of your own home.
Jesus, how many hugs did you not get that you got to walk around with a fucking snake?
Yeah, and when somebody's doing that, you're saying to yourself, well, yeah, that snake will love you no matter what.
Yeah.
You know
that
what?
snake's going to love you the way a fucking light bulb loves you. It's a reptile. It can't love.
That's right.
Reptiles cannot love.
It's your idea of love because it's all thought.
It's all in their eyes.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this snake's always loved me. No, that snake's always had you next to it because you captured it and keep it.
The snake thinks warm.
Yeah.
Warm creature.
You are warm.
Yeah. I will swallow your leg if I get bored.
I love chimps.
They're horrible creatures.
Really?
Oh, chimps are horrible.
Why?
When a chimp attacks you, it has a protocol.
Really?
And anybody who's ever been attacked by a chimp, you see all these people that get attacked by chimps. The first thing they do is they break your jaw.
What?
I'm not lying. It was on Discovery. They do two things. They break your jaw so you can't bite them.
Are you kidding me? I wasn't going to bite them.
They bite off your fingers.
What?
So you can't attack them.
What the? I wasn't going to attack them.
True. And then they tear off your genitals. Supposedly, so you won't rape them.
I don't love chimps anymore. There's a story about this woman who has this giant snake, and she sleeps with it in the bed. And she thinks, this snake loves me, the snake loves me, the snake loves me. And then she says, the snake's not eating anymore. And brings it to the doctor, and the doctor says, what do you think's wrong? I don't know. Well, let's have a look. Oh, it's starving itself in preparation to eat you.
Really?
That's a true story. Starving itself in preparation to eat me. I take care of the snake. She says, I love this snake. There's no way that you're right. No, that's what it's doing. It's so sure that you're the meal.
That's every relationship I've ever been in.
I'm telling you, I think that it all comes back to where are we from, what are we doing here, and why did I pick this?
So what you're saying is, if you have a girl,
and
she suddenly loses a lot of weight.
Yeah, she wants to eat you.
She's getting into like a zombie phase.
Yeah, I wasn't even saying this, but now I am.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I think it could be. If she starts thinking to herself,
I think I'm going to go to Curves.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you fucking aren't.
You stay right there. Let me get you a liverwurst sandwich.
Oh, we got to wrap this one up because I got to make 7 phone calls right now.
Oh, yeah. Get some of these people out of your book.
This is 2 guys from Boston saving our asses. Got to go.
Political Talk with 2 guys from Boston.
I have a question about a conspiracy thing, and I would like your guys' opinion on it. It's the whole chemtrails thing. I don't know what to think of that.
Oh, is this Art Bell territory?
Yeah, I guess. And I've heard Rick Overton's talked about it a couple times.
Yeah. You ever walk into a room? If you ever walk into a room and people are talking about chemtrails, just leave that
Yeah,
room
I think
because
you're right.
that's a room you don't want to be in. Yeah, that
Because I don't really get it. Like,
I don't get it either.
What are they?
well, it's like,
Oh, you never heard of chemtrails?
No, I've heard of them, but I don't know what they are, and I can't summon up the
They're
gumption to ask.
supposed to.
there's a lot of theories about it, but it's like these trails that you see in the sky that people argue, well, they're not from an airplane because they don't follow the standard trail that a airplane would leave or whatever.
That they know.
That they know of. Yeah, right.
This is a bad conspiracy.
Look, I know the kinds of trails airplanes leave until I see one that I didn't know about.
Yeah, like, wait a minute. That didn't come over an airplane.
Yeah.
Well, how did it get there?
Planes can't
Something
turn.
has to get it there, right?
And it's supposed to be to control the population.
If you want to control the population, come up with a funny cell phone app.
Exactly.
All you need is like, how tall are you in pancakes?
yeah, right.
That's all you need to control the population. Like, yeah, how many monkeys could you kill at your current weight?
I think you're making a good point that the population is already
the
very under control.
The population is very controlled. You know,
Yeah, which came first, the chicken or the chemtrail? I mean, it's like, I don't think we really need them. But what I don't get, though, is the idea that they think that obviously you could go up into the atmosphere if you really wanted to know what this stuff was and somehow test it, right? Or, I mean, isn't that a
I guess so.
possibility,
But
or-
you're going into a part of conspiracy that is dangerous. Paranoia. You just then go into this world. Like, if you believe in chemtrails, you could believe in anything. Like, and psychotics talk like this. I've heard a friend of mine say this. The CIA is trying to control my thoughts through this spoon. Now, you know what I mean?
Now that person is
And he's-
schizophrenic.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But
This isn't
chemtrails-
somebody walking around, is it? This is my friend who's the lieutenant governor of Maryland.
right, yeah.
This chemtrail stuff is not far from that
Well,
kind of
and nor is it
weird-
far from black helicopters, nor is it far from UFO abductions, nor is it far
Right.
from haints and ancient ghosts. We always seem to create this thing to give ourselves a focus of our paranoia. You know, it was
Yeah,
alien
there you
abductions.
go. That's a good way to put it.
You know,
Or Satan.
People just need
Yes.
people need to create something to put all that stuff
Or
on.
another way to put it instead of paranoia is our anxiety, our free floating anxiety, just needs a place to latch onto. Like,
Right.
just for it to
target.
exist is kind of uncomfortable. But if you can say, oh, yes, it's this thing, it's the chemtrails. I think I feel better. I feel better.
Yeah, well, now I know what it is.
Now I know why
what
I'm
afraid
crazy.
of. Yeah, right, yeah.
And this is what I want to know. Like, honestly, all those alien abductions, everybody buggered.
What is that saying?
What was
about
it?
our society?
What was it up our ass that they had to find out? We just
Are they prostate doctors throughout the universe? Like,
apparently they just thought we had a certain je ne sais quoi, and it was hidden up there.
Can I explain it? This is what has happened, is that aliens have their own version of Easter. And what they do is they come down first and they hide eggs in random anuses across the world. Then 6 months later, another group comes, has to find them.
You believe we have UFOs in a warehouse? We probably do. It's fun to believe anyway. Some things are just fun to believe, you know? Government conspiracy against UFOs, guardian angels, the Hulk. Some things are just fun to believe. I don't believe in alien abductions, though. I've read a lot about alien abductions. I really have. I'm a big fan of that stuff. And I don't believe in them because it's always the same circumstances, the same type of people, the same situations. It's never a black guy. It's never a Hispanic guy. It's never a physicist from the Netherlands. It's always some dumb white fuck in the middle of nowhere. Never anyone of importance. It's always some cracker. I was abducted and anally probed by two aliens who had disguised themselves as my buddies Brad and Duke. I was taken on board a spaceship that was made to look like the back of Duke's warehouse. Their alien language sounded like humans when we giggle. But
But here's my theory. If people really are getting abducted by aliens and aliens really are doing that, what's going through their mind? They're the advanced culture. They got here before we got there. What are they thinking? We've mastered the infinities of travel through time and space, but the anal cavity eludes us. The vast sea of the unknown that is the universe is but a shallow pond compared to the depths of mystery contained in the human ass. All right, boys, we're nearing the Milky Way. Who wants pumpkin? Get 'em up, come on. I want to see a head count here. I don't want to hear anybody complaining on the way home.
The only UFO thing I've ever believed, and this often happens in a cocktail lounge or a senior center.
Or the cocktail lounge in a senior center.
In a senior center, exactly. But if you ever talk to old airline pilots who used to fly over Europe and Asia, over the oceans, they've all seen weird stuff.
Yeah.
Pre the advanced digital radar days. And they're all straight-laced military types. So, like, there's even an astronaut out in this business. So there's incredible people who've seen weird things. Now, that's not the same as they've got a ET in a box in Roswell, New Mexico.
Right. In World War II, they were called Foo Fighters. Later the adopted name of Dave Grohl's band.
In the jet age of the 60s, though, guys were flying then, which was not nearly as automated as now, all have stories.
Yeah. Well, the Comedy Store is...
Oh, definitely. Pauly Shore, clearly.
Well, it used to be Ciro's, which was a mafia-run nightclub, and a lot of guys walked in and were carried out under a blanket because they owed money to the wrong people. A lot of people got murdered at Ciro's. And Blake Clark, who's a comedian and an actor, you've seen him in every Adam Sandler movie ever made. Great guy. Platoon leader in Vietnam. Not a ditz by any stretch of the imagination. And he says he was alone locking up the Comedy Store one night and just caught a vibe in a room and swears he sensed or felt or saw something that scared him more than anything he encountered in the jungle. And again, not alone.
Yeah, no. Yeah. It's a weird world. The UFO thing that always bugs me is a logic problem. Let's say they've mastered all the physics to fly across the galaxy in full time and space.
Yeah.
But the big problem on board is like the alien admiral saying, all right, remember, we got to land at night so the sheriff doesn't see us.
Was there ever anything at Roswell, New Mexico? Like, did we have a flying wing?
Well, the Air Force finally opened up some stuff that there might have been some sort of radar surveillance balloon or something. They finally did, like, the official thing. And, something made out of funny metal crashed there.
See, I think that they kept it quiet because it was fun. Nothing like a fake conspiracy to divert people's attention from stuff that you want to keep secret, which is nothing extraterrestrial but national security reasons, and good for business. A lot of people spent money in Roswell, New Mexico.
No, I think Roswell Chamber of Commerce, any minute now they're going to land. I mean, it's a business. Like Area 51 out in Nevada. What really goes on there is they test a lot of secret aircraft, and so you get weird lights at night and everything, but the inhabitants have made a huge deal out of Area 51.
Yeah, there's always these weird other conspiracies, and the biggest one is probably the Kennedy assassination. And my theory on that is their lives didn't balance out. JFK was too large a figure to have been killed by Lee Harvey Oswald.
It's the chaos theory is the only thing that kind of explains it because it seems so asymmetrically weird.
Then you got to go right to Bobby Kennedy.
Right, sure. That looked like a straight-up assassination to me.
Yeah.
Everything fell into place.
Ghastly coincidence.
Yes, a horrible coincidence.
Yeah, and the theory being that Sirhan was a Manchurian candidate. That was the theory, that Sirhan had been hypnotized by evil Cuban mafia people that were in the CIA.
Of course.
When you become president, do you think they tell you all the secrets right away? Or do you have to slowly earn them with good behavior? I would think it would have to be that. They can't splooge them on you all at once. It'll blow your mind, The minute you're sworn in, some CIA grunt pulls you into a dark alley. All right, come here. You never heard this. We have 2 UFOs in a warehouse, and we put JFK's brain in a monkey. You laugh. I put nothing past those people. I'm sure somewhere in the basement of CIA headquarters there's some sealed-off room. Hey, as soon as I finish eating these berries, maybe I'll go swing on that tire. Ask not what your country can do for you. A couple of guys bringing on a female monkey in a yellow Marilyn Monroe wig. Go get him, champ. So, still in school? I hurl my feces at the wall because it's there.
Well, and now, like possession, like demon possession and all that, like that kind of stuff. You ever notice that, like, very few particle physicists ever get possessed by the devil? You know? It's always...
Why? You're saying people who are very scientific?
No, it's never somebody with a lot of, like, ballast and reason. It's
I see.
Yeah.
I see. That would be amazing if Noam Chomsky was like, I just want to say before I talk about the UN Security Council Resolution 956, that I was probed last night in a hotel. Matt, you're right. You're right. That is
Gore Vidal probably is never going to get possessed by the devil. Or
that may be a case
Stephen
closed.
Hawking,
that may be a rest my case argument right there.
Yeah.
You know, if
what I mean?
Stephen Hawking said he was possessed by the devil, people would believe it because, it looks like that's what the devil would do to you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. Again, my friend Kevin Rooney, who I find myself quoting every podcast, that's how you know God has a sense of humor. Smartest guy alive, can't talk. Smartest man alive, can't tell you a goddamn thing. Fuck you, humanity. And he hangs out in sex clubs, God bless him.
He does.
Yeah,
that explodes my myth about, brilliant people not needing these base things.
I do wonder, and it's too soon to know, like, what the exposure, like, because of the communications revolution, we are all taking in way too much information every day.
That is very true.
News exposure and
Twitter feed. Just a Twitter feed is enough to send me spiraling out of control with information.
I look at my Twitter feed and like, they're trying that on those people? That's a horrible thing. We have to do action. Who's booking that gig? Why aren't I at that gig? God damn it, I'm funny, those assholes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And there used to be filters. So
look, another Christmas show without me in it. Oh, grand news, Twitter. Thank you for telling me of my many failures, Twitter.
And by the way, the remedy to this, I am supposed to meditate. But once I start getting into that world of Twitter and all that crap and this information overload that you're talking about, I don't want to meditate. I don't know what
you're going to miss stuff.
I guess that's it. It's
There's going to be a car wash poetry slam with an open mic, and I should get there.
What is the black helicopters?
In the 90s, black helicopters were huge. Secret government helicopters that were flying over the cities and following people.
But drones are the new thing for me to worry about. Like, I don't really worry. I don't worry about them.
How about nanotechnology? Does that bother you in any way?
Yeah, what is that again? Nanotechnology?
Like a nanobot, like an almost microscopic robot?
Nanotechnology is everything Robin Williams does. Now, Art Bell, you mentioned Art Bell. For people who don't know Art Bell used to have this amazing radio show on AM radio called After Dark. And this was sort of at the height of the sort of X-Files, alien abduction, government conspiracy heyday of the 90s, which oddly dissipated after 9/11. Because what happened was then people had a real place to put their anxiety. They didn't need to create the goblin.
Right.
They had a real goblin.
Right.
But what was amazing about Art Bell, and what was really beautiful, and the show is still on. It's hosted by a guy named George Norrie now, and it's from the Gas
Do you listen
Bags.
at all?
I do. I enjoy it a lot.
Is it entertaining?
It's brutally entertaining. And the great thing about Art Bell was that it's great for like driving at night. It's like, that's what I think this podcast actually works for. It's like these are meant to be heard alone in a car at night.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the best time. And it's the only time I'm capable of intimacy, and yet I'm unable to touch myself because I have to steer. Do you see the prison I made for me?
I can help you with that.
But the great thing about Art Bell was he would never negate anything. And one time, I never forget this, I had a little shower radio, and I walked in late at night. I was working on a show and came home really late, turned on the radio, got in the shower. And it was on Art Bell. And this is what he said. He goes, "Sir, I'm not saying you're not the Antichrist. What I'm saying is I had the Antichrist hotline open last week, and we had 11 calls.
He rules out nothing. He rules out nothing.
You get like, I'm a time traveler from the Andromeda parsecs.
Oh, my God. That's
I
great.
currently work in New Orleans. I work at a photo lab. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, and
yeah, that's it. But that's the brilliance of it.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
right.
What else?
I think they've always got a little money in the military for somebody to fool around with something silly, and then some general says, "What the hell are we doing here?" So who knows?
In
But,
the 50s, we did do ESP experiments.
You know what the Russians were fanatic about, particularly the East Germans, the famous Stasi, secret police? There's a great book Marcus Wolf wrote about when he ran the Stasi. They were obsessed with smell instead of fingerprints. So they try to catalog smells. They had huge warehouses full of Comrade 487. One said Stalin looked funny at a bus station, smell sample and everything. So
Wow.
the Eastern Bloc guys got into their own weird technology obsessions. Historically, what we've been particularly good at is tapping phones and what they call the signal intelligence, which is we're great at satellites. They could tell you what kind of pizza, Saddam ordered,
Right.
We're very good at all that. What's been hard is the human intelligence, which we used to be good at, which is people inside. But
Right.
they're not bad at that either. And a lot of it's classified.
And they do accomplish amazing things. I mean, there was a plot to blow up LAX
The
that
plot,
they
some you don't hear
completely
about.
discovered and undid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, they're.
Oh, I don't even want to know the stuff I don't know.
Yeah,
about.
no, nobody does. That's why the president has more gray hair. They all do than when they go in. Some guy in a Brooks Brothers suit comes in with a briefing every day, and it's a lot of it. Yeah, they were close. We got them an inch before the detonation.
One day I'm going to find out that snakes on a plane really happened.
Yeah,
that's the worst one.
Right, exactly.
Mr. President, there are snakes on a plane.
Speaking of the Antichrist, that's another one for me.
I'm dealing with the anti-Chris. Some guy who's so unlike Chris, I can't stand it. Chris is such a great guy. Who hates Chris? The anti-Chris.
You think the guys who wrote the Bible would have a great podcast, if there was podcasting back then? My understanding of the Antichrist, I could be wrong because I'm not a big Bible guy, is that it was collective evil kind of personified. The Antichrist.
Well, Satan was a fallen angel.
Yes.
Which
that's another thing that doesn't make any sense.
The simple reason we're talking about it, it's just Game of Thrones.
Right.
It's Game of Thrones that has defined Western civilization for centuries.
But it's all mythology, right?
Yeah.
It's all mythology.
It sounds too comic
evil,
booky
good
to
evil.
be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, people need a myth.
Yes.
People need a myth. And that was where I got into a big argument at the Ardent Atheist radio show. And
they're fundamentally atheists.
Their belief is an adherence to reason, but it negates humanity's need for a myth.
Yes.
It needs humanity's genuine and healthy need to feel that they are more than the sum of their parts.
Great book to read. I Don't Believe in Atheists by Chris Hedges. I love.
Oh, that book
promoting
came
that
up
guy.
yesterday. I was on it yesterday with Mark Maron. It was me and Mark Maron getting yelled at by Paul Provenza and Emery. It's a very entertaining.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, science hasn't done much better. Is a big point in this book, with humanity, like people who are just completely dedicated. And I know that sounded weird, that sentence, that science hasn't done much better. But people who believe that human beings, if it's just science, will be great. And they never are. They're it's just insane,
It's nice to have, I don't mean to get really heavy or creepy about it.
I love
You know what's even worse than the idea of no heaven, no hell? Hitler, Manson.
That you're right
the
about
9/11
that.
hijackers.
You're right that they're not going to get what they deserve. In other words, it's not a moral universe.
Yeah, you always expect the 9/11 hijackers. At least when they died, they woke up in a boxing ring facing a 7-armed dragon.
Serial killers, the people who have killed, but then they find Jesus, they find God, and they have these incredible conversions. And I really believe that some of them did, but does that mean they don't have to pay? I don't know. I get fucked up by that.
What about
you
the
know
person
what I mean?
that just led a nice moral life but didn't believe in Jesus?
Yeah, he's fucked.
Right next to Hitler in the same fire pit.
He's right next to Hitler.
Hey,
he's fucked.
Boy, you must have done something really bad, huh?
Yeah.
No, I just didn't. I had doubts.
I had 7 kids, and I was a doctor. I did a lot of work at Doctors Without Borders, but I had a lot of doubt about God. What did you do? Oh, I slaughtered a bunch of nurses at a nursing school. Well, what are you doing? Oh, we see this bat with nails in it. We're supposed to light it on fire. Then I shove it up your ass, and you shove it up my ass. For all eternity. Oh, okay. Well, let's get going. I mean, they're just very calm about it. Yeah, they're just calm about it. Okay, let's go. Let's do this thing.
Here we go.
Hitler and Stalin are just sitting on a bench. What happens? Oh, we have to drink lava. All right, let's do this. Just get up. They have a good jock attitude about it.
Yeah, they're still go get him.
Yeah, I have to make love to a woman that's made of rattlesnake heads. Let's do this.
But after 10 million years, doesn't that probably lose its sting a little bit? Do they got to keep inventing new things, or
I don't know. I like that I optimistically said he had to make love to a woman that was made solely of rattlesnake heads.
We got a peek into your whole thing.
Yeah, to just fuck her would be dirty. Just make love. You want to talk conspiracy? How about the conspiracy of silence? The conspiracy of silence when you walk past a bum sleeping on the sidewalk, but you're too busy playing with your phone to make eye contact. To give him just a moment of affirmation. Just an acknowledgement. Yes, I see you. You're a person. Well, what if they're not? What if they're angels? Sent to earth to see just who among us has a quality of mercy. And what if, when you do go to heaven, you have to walk by all of those faces again, and you realize that heaven is just full of bums? Maybe they got bored playing harp and the wings were a drag, but you can't walk 5 feet without them hitting you up for change, waving their oh-so-clever money-for-beer signs in your face, tugging at your clean shirt with dirty fingers, smiling at you with their creepy broken teeth. Why do you do this, you ask? You're a member of the celestial choir. Why have you chosen this life? He crooks his finger, and you lean forward. His foul, hot breath fills your ear as he asks, "Wanna see my pecker?" Welcome to heaven.
This has been the Dana Gould Hour, brought to you by the Internet. Music by Andy Paley, with Jake Posner behind the board. Engineering by Brent Butler. Internet junk by Spencer Hunt and Segan Friend. Sound editing, effects, and everything else by Jolinda Palmer. Hey, if you like the show, why don't you drop us a line at show@danagould.com. Tom Kenny speaking.
Do you want to see my clay baby?
Oh, no.